Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. If you're building an AI startup, you've probably spent countless hours, maybe even years, getting your model just right. It's a thing of beauty, a technical marvel, but now comes that nagging question, the one that keeps every founder up at night. Does my amazing tech actually solve a real, painful problem for someone? Well, that's what we're digging into today. Think of this as your field guide to finding that answer. Okay, let's kick things off with the single most important mantra in the startup world. From the legend himself, Steve Blank, get out of the building. And listen, this isn't just some catchy phrase, it's a direct order. Because the most sophisticated AI, the most brilliant algorithm is basically just an expensive hobby if no one actually needs it. The answers you're looking for aren't in another training run or a cleaner data set, they're out there, in the real world, talking to real humans. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We'll start by talking about a super common pitfall called the tech first trap. Then we're going to reframe your mission. You're not looking for customers, you're looking for clues. We'll give you a field guide for how to actually talk to people, show you how to turn those clues into powerful insights, and finally, we'll see why this search for the truth, well, it never really ends. All right, first up, let's talk about a scenario that I bet a lot of you know all too well. It's that moment you fall completely in love with your own technology. And for AI founders, this is a particularly dangerous place to be. You get obsessed with the model's accuracy, the elegance of the code. You get so focused on the what that you totally forget to ask the most important question. Why should anyone care? That, my friends, is the tech first trap. So to really bring this to life, let's meet Koshi and Roberta. They are brilliant, and they've just had a massive technical breakthrough. Let's think of them as our stand-in for an AI team that's just crushed a new benchmark. They've done the impossible in the lab. They're on top of the world. But now they're staring into that classic founder abyss, asking, we built this amazing thing, now what? So their advisor, Samantha, comes in and gives them some, let's say, tough love. She explains that every new venture is built on a pile of guesses or assumptions. And some of those guesses are so fundamental that if you get them wrong, the whole thing comes crashing down. And here's the kicker. Your mission isn't to prove you're a genius. It's to find out where you're dead wrong and to find out fast before you run out of cash. Okay, so take a look at their list. It's all about sleep quality, pricing, and who they think their customer is. Now, for an AI founder, your list is going to look a little different, right? But it's just as critical. It's things like, yeah, people are totally going to trust what our AI spits out. Or, of course, companies will give our API access to their private data. Or maybe our first users are definitely going to be PhD data scientists. These are the core beliefs that could kill your company if you don't test them. So how do you actually test these big, scary assumptions? Well, you don't do it by pitching or selling. No way. This is where you put on your detective hat. Your mission is to go out into the wild and collect clues. Clues that either support or, even better, completely destroy your riskiest assumptions. And this, right here, is the absolute key. It's a total mindset shift. When you approach someone, you're not walking in there to sell your fancy new generative AI tool. Nope. You're there to learn about their workflow, their biggest headaches, the things that frustrate them the most. You're not a salesperson, you're a scientist, and you're gathering data. Okay, so how do you actually get these clues? Samantha gives them this really powerful three-part plan. First, you gotta walk a mile in their shoes. Try to solve the problem for yourself to build real empathy. Second, just watch people. Be a fly on the wall. See what they actually do, not what they tell you they do. And third, you talk to them to really dig into the why behind their behavior. None of these methods is perfect on its own, but when you put them all together, that's when the patterns start to pop. Okay, so you've got the mindset down, you're a detective, but what does a detective actually do? What are the tactics? Well, that's what this next part is all about. This is your practical, no-nonsense field guide. Look, every single one of these discovery missions can be broken down into these 5 core questions. This framework forces you to get super specific. Who exactly are you talking to? What exactly do you need to learn? How are you going to find them? This isn't just wandering around hoping for a good conversation. This is structured, repeatable research. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the single most important rule of the entire process. Never, ever ask people about the future. Humans are terrible at predicting their own behavior. Asking someone, hey, would you buy this, is completely useless. It's a fantasy question. What you need are stories about the past. Tell me about the last time you had this problem. Walk me through how you dealt with it. Past actions are the only real clues to future behavior. All right, so Koshi and Roberta have their marching orders. They're out of the building. So what happens? This is where the magic starts. They start turning those fuzzy conversations and observations into actual real-world data. The detective work is starting to pay off. And boom, their first clue is a big one. Over half the people they watched were using their phones in the store. Now, this isn't an opinion. It's a hard fact, a behavior. For them, it meant their online game had to be strong. For an AI founder, this is everything. It's about understanding your user's workflow. Maybe you're building a desktop tool, but this kind of clue tells you it needs to be a mobile app or a browser plugin or a Slack bot. You have to meet them where they live. Next up, they get a huge piece of validation. A whopping 68% of people brought up better sleep all on their own. This is gold. It confirms that the problem they think they're solving is one people actually have and care about. For your AI tool, this is the difference between marketing AI-powered automation and marketing never send your boss a report with a stupid mistake again. See the difference? One is tech speak, the other is a real human problem.
And by putting all this down in a simple table, they can start to see the real patterns, not just the ones they want to see. It keeps them honest and fights their own biases. I mean, think of it like analyzing the performance metrics of your model. You trust the data, not your gut feeling. This is the same thing, just for humans.
And then this happens. The million-dollar insight, the one that saves the entire company. Their biggest, most core assumption, that their first customers would be recent grads, was completely, totally wrong. I mean, just think for a second what this saved them. We're talking months, maybe years of wasted effort, a mountain of cash burned on marketing to the wrong people. This is why you get out of the building, not to hear good news, but to find the truth before it's too late.
So they dodged a bullet. They talked to a few people, invalidated a huge assumption. So they're done, right? Mission accomplished? No way. Not even close. You have to understand that customer discovery isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a continuous process of building more and more confidence by gathering stronger and stronger evidence. And this brings us to a super useful mental model for this whole process. It's called the truth curve. The basic idea is that some evidence is weak and some is rock solid. A compliment is not a commitment, and a commitment is not a credit card. Your job as a founder is to climb this curve, moving from flimsy evidence to irrefutable proof. So, level 1. This is where you start the conversations. This is where you get your first big leaps in understanding. You learn the language, the pain points. It's powerful, but you got to be careful. You can't just take every word as gospel. It's just a clue, not a conclusion. Okay, next, you level up. You stop just talking and you start watching. Actions speak way louder than words. Can they actually use a clunky prototype of your AI tool? Will they engage with a Wizard of Oz test where you're secretly pulling the levers behind the curtain? When you see someone do something, that's much stronger evidence. And then there's level 3, the mountaintop, the ultimate test. This is when someone puts some real skin in the game. Their time, their reputation, or better yet, their money. A pre-order, a signed letter of intent, an actual credit card number, that is the strongest signal you will ever get that you're onto something real. And really, this is what it all boils down to. Samantha's final advice says it all. Your job at the beginning isn't to hit some vanity growth metric. It's to learn as fast as you possibly can. Trying to scale a business on a foundation of bad assumptions is the fastest way to die. You earn the right to scale after you've found the truth. So that brings us back to you. We know your AI is powerful. We know the tech is brilliant, but the ultimate test of its value isn't in a research paper or a benchmark score. It's out there, in the messy, real world with actual people. So the question is, are you brave enough to step away from the keyboard, get out of the building, and find out if the thing you're building is not just brilliant, but truly, deeply wanted?